Hey, welcome to the Psy Tai Podcast, episode 19. Welcome. Hey, we're going to talk about microdosing psychedelics, LSD, along with psilocybin mushrooms. I'm going to give my 2 cents, and I got some articles. Prepare, intro, go. And we all in the same boat. We can start the conversation. All right. It's been a lovely day, and so far, man, this is the afternoon. But hey, I'm not really on no schedule. Shout outs to True Life Stories. I'm coming out with these podcasts when I can. But this is really about microdosing and LSD and psilocybin mushrooms, and how it's people out here that are taking minuscule amounts of LSD and what I just said before, and not enough to trip. We covered this in the past sidecast. Psy Tai Podcast, about how big tech corporations, like the top executives, the people really running it, and the creative people, like down in Silicon Valley, their microdosing is not like a taboo thing to talk about amongst each other, amongst themselves, but they won't tell you. But we found some articles where people change their name around and then they start talking and stuff like that. So check out the Psy Tai Podcast. But this is on microdosing. We're going to go over what microdosing is, how it can benefit your life, the risk to microdosing, psilocybin mushrooms and LSD, mescaline, whatever your choice is. But before we get into any of this, it's coming to my mind, I got to say, we do not condone, Psy Tai Podcast does not condone the use of illegal or legal drugs. Your body is your body. What we do is we go over scientific articles, and plus I give my 2 cents on my past experiences. I'm not telling you to go do anything. That's up to you, bros and sisters. All right, so let's move on to the next part. All right, let's jump into this. And to answer a question that probably pops up, yes, I do have experience with microdosing. LSD and of microdosing will take effect. First ever trials of the effects of microdosing LSD set to begin. In Silicon Valley, they say taking tiny amounts of hallucinogenic drugs increases creativity, productivity, but is it all in the mind? That's a trippy question that they put out there, because Captain Naga will say, it is all in the mind. Everything is all in the mind. Even what you're looking at is conjured up in your mind. But all right, yeah, and that's an awesome picture. We went over that. Those are the fMRI scans of somebody under hallucinogenic drug LSD and somebody given a placebo. I feel sorry for the placebo people, as always. Hopefully they got to take some medicine afterwards, but look at the difference. Brain is lit up. Usually that's how our brains are running and everything. The little parts are communicating just to keep us functioning, just to keep us going, to keep us surviving. That's how I like to put it. But look at the LSD brain. It's like bloop, 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 and it's all on fire. That's wild. Like, I gotta check out the fMRI podcast. I'm gonna keep going because this was microdosing. All right, Silicon Valley. When was this put out? September 1st, 2008. Shout out to my sister. That was her birthday. All right. Silicon Valley geeks say it sharpens their thinking, enhancing creativity. Others say it lifts the fog of depression. A novel experiment launching September 3rd, 2018 will investigate whether microdosing with LSD really does have benefits or whether it's all in the mind. They need to put other words. Microdosing using psychedelic drugs, either LSD or magic mushrooms, is said to become very popular, especially with people working in California digital tech world. Yeah, I was told you about that. It makes them more focused. Microdosers tend to take either tiny doses of LSD, as little as 1/15 of a tab, or psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic. We know that, magic mushrooms. We hipped on that. All right. The study is recruiting just those who use LSD because of the difficulty in distinguishing even ground up mushrooms in the capsule. Yeah, I can testify to that. Like, not every dose is the same when it comes to microdosing and psilocybin, because different mushrooms, even from the same patch that's grown, have different amounts of the actual psilocybin chemical in it. All right, we're going over all of this, but it's illegal. So how many people are microdosing and unknown and there wait, so how many people are microdosing and it's unknown and there is only anecdotal evidence of the effects and any downsides. In a bid to learn more, the Beckley Foundation, which was set up to pioneer research into mind-altering substances, and the unit it funds at Imperial College London, will launch the first ever placebo-controlled trial of microdosing on Monday, September 30th, 2018. Oh, it happened. We gotta find that study, guys. We gotta find it. Oh, gosh. This is cool. Hopefully they scanned their brains and all of that stuff. It will be unique, says the study. The cost and illegality of LSD will make a conventional study prohibitively expensive. I butchered that word. So he has hit on a way of running it by inviting those who already microdose to join a self-blinded study. They will take either what they usually use in a capsule or an denso dummy capsule instead. Sorry, identical dummy capsule instead, without knowing which is which. They will shout out to the placebo people. So sorry for you guys. They will, but it's for science. They will compete questionnaires and test and play cognitive games online, and only at the end will they learn whether they were happy and focused because of LSD or because they thought they were using LSD. I think they need to do more than cognitive games. And my experience with microdosing LSD in the past, I didn't really make it known that I was microdosing, so that's one of the things that happens. That's how I know a lot of people out here aren't saying anything. But back in the past, this was about 2 years ago now, worked at an ice cream shop, but I used to microdose LSD. That was the first psychedelic I was ever turned onto. And besides, I want to get past all the emotional, like family and figuring stuff out. But when it came to work, I was able to move efficiently and I didn't feel down. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm working. It was like, oh, I'm playing this game called work. Let me figure out how to be the best thing, be the best player. Because like in a video game, you always want to level up your player. You never want to like stay on a certain level. And I felt that drive and calmness come along with it, and it reflected. I got three raises in about 5 months. Like that, the results was being shown on the outside. What I was feeling on the inside and what I was thinking, just tying and just going about, it was all working together. And I was able to keep the team, the family at the ice cream shop uplifted. Because a lot of people like drowned, like they had school, they had a lot going on with their lives. We all have so much going on with our lives. But I was able to like keep people uplifted. Like, come on, we got this. And keep a smile on my face just naturally. Not like, oh, I got to put on a face because all the customers coming in all the time. I was like, nah. Hey, welcome. What's going on? I love that little role. I love that little role. Shout outs to that ice cream shop. I don't know if I should say their name. I'll think about it as we keep tying along. Okay. The people who microdose right now are not an average random set of people. Yeah. The people who microdose right now are not an average random set of people from the street, he said. They are very likely to have used psychedelics before and have preconceptions about them. You are doing you are doing something novel and exciting and that you believe in. And you know you are doing it. It is absolutely no surprise that you are getting a positive effect. Those who volunteer to take part will be sent a manual which describes in great detail how to set up the gel capsules, something containing a tiny piece of blotter paper loaded with a small dose of LSD that they normally use and the others that are empty. Then randomly assign them over 4 weeks. All right, this is their process. Smartphone readable QR codes, which those little boxes, and they got the little squiggly lines in you can scan like a kind of barcode, but not. Envelopes, readable QR codes and envelopes containing the doses for each week will reveal what was taken and when at the end of the trial. Is that me or is my wording messed up? It's probably me. Blame myself. Thanks for still watching the Psy Tai Podcast. This is Captain Naga, and y'all are the tires. If y'all have any articles y'all want me to go over, send them my way. Alright. Already going over a little history of LSD. Albert Hoffman, first synthesized 1936. Y'all can go over this with me. It's become popular in Silicon Valley as a way to increase creativity. Yep, I was going over that. Amanda, director of the Berkeley Foundation, has spent her life supporting research into psychedelic drugs. Since I first heard about LSD in 1966, before it was made illegal, I became aware of its great potential value for health and cognitive enhancement, she said. She gets a lot of correspondence on microdosing from San Francisco, she said. I think it's spreading, but it is impossible to tell how much is happening because no one knows. There's been a lot of talk about it in the last few years. At low doses, she thinks it is almost as a psychovitamin. Never heard that term, psychovitamin. Like people popping vitamins all day. Even though y'all need to eat some fruit, eat some real fruit, man. Vitamins don't always suffice. Keep going. Yeah, this is just talking about the study. That's the last part. All right, let's go over this last part. David E., who was working on the study with Sangetti, said it is in all ways an unusual project. Piloted with a small group of people, they found the self-blinding feasible. They could do it, and they found it fun and stimulating. Yeah, I'm gonna check in with that. I'm gonna find it. That was cool. Thanks, The Guardian. And I think y'all had a lot of word errors in that document. We go ahead and keep the smiles on. But yeah, I used to microdose LSD about 2 years ago. And one of the things I can say, it gives you a boost of energy. It gives you a boost of energy. I'm comparing it right now in my head to psilocybin, mushrooms, microdosing, which I'm going to go over later. But it gives you a level of thinking that, in my mind, it made me feel like I was a professor or something. Like I was able to think clearly, but I was able to think a lot about complex issues and grasp huge concepts, but they were, to me, simple. They were made simple, and I was able to bounce around with a lot of huge things and work out a lot of things in my life, a lot of traumas that I was feeling back in the past, because I feel I had social anxiety issues. No, not really issues, but I don't know. I had a lot of huge depression on me. I was real suicidal back in the past. Had two suicide attempts. I talked about that before. But, and then before the microdose, it's not just like you take microdose and it's a magic pill. None's a magic pill. It takes experience and dedication towards something that you know was going to change your life course towards something else than what you was doing before, than the damaging stuff you was doing before. But it allowed me to stay level-headed and happy and very, very optimistic about things. I think I was becoming I don't like terms that much, but I was seeing the bad things in life and the good things in life, but I was focusing more on how messed up things was, and it was making me a very upset person in life. Like how you see people getting so upset at Trump all the time and talking hate and all this stuff about anything in life. Like that's how I was all the time. Because I was able to see it clearly. And I was like, well, I see it clearly. That's what I see. That's what I'm supposed to talk about. That's life. That's what life is. That's what it is. And coming from Philly, coming from living in the projects, that's what everybody else is doing. So you just tag along. And I was fighting out of that. And then when LSD kind of came my way, like I didn't really go searching for it. It was just a popped up question, and then it was just available right there, and it was wild. But I was able to keep up my optimism to another level. It's one of the effects I'm saying of the microdosing. And I was able to talk to family members more openly about just normal things, just everyday things, or how I'm really feeling about a situation. Because I see that I catch myself saying a lot in the past, saying a lot of catchphrases. A lot of catchphrases just to get by. And they was the right catchphrases. Everybody thought I was a cool person. Like, they were always not understand how can something be wrong with you when on the outside we don't see that much really being physically wrong with you. It's, besides being poor and all that stuff, like that's a huge thing. But it's a lot that was going on mentally that I was seeing, and it wasn't allowing me to wake up to have good days, or wake up have good attitudes, or wake up have good relationships. It bettered my relationships with my daughter's mom and everything, with my mother, my grandmother, my sisters, my dad. I was like able to think about things that me, because my dad wasn't there in my life for a long time. Still, yeah, not for a long time. And so it allowed me to be comfortable with those type situations personally in my life, and allowed me to move on. Like, for me personally, it really didn't bother me that much. But then when layers are removed, you see why I see why I was doing certain things in the world. Like when it came down to girls and stuff like that. And it was like, I think my dad's son to do this. So I would think about that under these, like during these sessions, and I'll be able to say, oh yeah, okay, I don't want to do that. All right, let's cut that link right there. Or however you want to look. It don't got to be a link. That's just how I visualize it in the moment, you know? But yeah, that's some of the effects of LSD. I don't do it really that much anymore. Microdose, but yes, this is for experience from the past, and if also writing the book, or if I don't know, being really creative. My creativity was up on another level, and remember I said I was able to grasp big concepts and put them, and they seemed simple to me, so I was able to play around them, and it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. All right, that's I remember one experience though, just to get personal. I remember, this when I was still living with my mom, I took a little too much. The thing about microdosing LSD is that if you don't put it inside the bottle, it's a way that you can dilute it inside of water, distilled water, so that you can get droplets. Because the thing is to take so much less of a amount that you cannot perceive. You're not tripping. That's what microdosing really is. You're not really going out and tripping out and saying, whoa, look at the trees, oh, whoa. But if that's in you, if it's in you and instilled in you, whatever's instilled in you is going to come out. And that was instilled in me, so I was still looking at the trees, but it was just natural. But, where was I at? I was saying something about microdosing LSD. Oh yeah, the story about my mom. I took a little bit, yeah, and how you need to do the liquid, because I was cutting it up, and sometimes the when they drop the LSD on the blotter paper, it's not evenly distributed. So if you cut it, you can that one tiny piece you can have more than the other piece. So it was this one day I was like, oh, I don't want. I was supposed to go to work and stuff. I was like, oh, I gotta go to work, but I couldn't catch the bus for some reason. The bus, I don't know if it's because of too many people, or I don't really understand. It's still, I don't know, but I had my bike. I really wanted to ride my bike that day. If I was like, oh, I'm gotta leave my mom. I don't want to leave you, but I gotta go to work. It just felt like I felt this strong bond, because me and my mom was going through a lot of stuff around these times. And I was at that moment, I felt like a strong emotional tie to my mom. And it felt so lovely. I didn't want to go to work. I was like, I just want to be here with you for the rest of the day and do whatever. That was a cool time. I wound up riding the bike to work and not catching the bus. That was the time. And then I was at work. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I'll tell that story more when I can remember it. I'm only going to try to tell clear stories. I have a lot of faint memories. That's why I'm trying to slow down on the smoking. All right. For thanks for tuning in. If you like this page, please share it. Share on the Facebook, the Twitter. And check out the Just Time Now videos where I was just out in the woods doing a lot of microdoses now. Most of those videos I was doing microdoses of psilocybin mushrooms, just talking out my feelings. So check them out. Alright, this is the next article. We're not going to go there yet. Interact. I need to interact with you. Oh, look. I'm part of the article. Wait, there it is. I'm part of the article, dude. And Just Tai stands for just think about it. Alright, encode and overload. Alright, it's done. Cool. We back. Remember, Just Tai stands for just think about it. That's when you combine your mind with your heart and keep that circle spinning and you let whatever come out, just come out. And that's what I'm doing on the Psy Tai Podcast. Whatever come out, come out. If y'all have any articles that y'all would like to send me, send them my way. I'm here every day. And shout outs to True Life Stories again. We all in this as a family. And, yep. Okay, we've been on that page a couple times. This is something I found in the Scientific American. This is in their mental health section. Scientists are starting to test claims about microdosing. Could psychedelics lead to improved antidepressant or anti-anxiety therapies? And that's something that I wish I had. Like, when I was microdosing, I was by myself. I'm going to keep going. When I was microdosing, I was by myself in the microdosing game, in the microdosing universe, in my circle. So, the kind of therapy, I wish I would have knew somebody that was in the game for a long time, or that it wasn't illegal so that I could have went to a therapist that dealt with psychoactive compounds. That's just my past wish, but I'm still here, and I was able to muster through and go through a lot of things on my own, alongside looking up videos on YouTube. Shout outs to Infinite Waters. He's a very awesome guy. And shout outs to Psych Substance. He's a very, kudos to them. Those was one of my main people I was watching. And add a lot of Alan Watts I was listening to, and Terrence McKenna. And I was really doing a lot of meditating, just going out in the woods. And I had to get through it, because for some reason, I wouldn't stop myself from going through to those realms. Like, if I experienced something, like not a bad day, but a bad thought that I couldn't really get rid of, because I couldn't deal with it. And I really learned and continuing to learn every day what letting go really, really does mean, and how much people need to let go more and more in their everyday lives. And things would be a lot more smoother. We hold on to a lot of I used to hold on to a lot of unnecessary thoughts. Well, this is just my stories about me. My psychedelic stories of me microdosing and sometimes taking a little too much. But I used to play, this is my story, so I never heard these before, but I used to go in the woods sometimes, and I would pick an album, like a Flying Lotus album, so to speak. And those albums is all no words, and it's just all straight electronic music, but not just not like fist pumping, but really bring you to another world, even if you're just sitting there with headphones in. But what I would do, go out in the forest, and I would let whatever emotions come out through the music. Since I wasn't on like a high explosive dose, I would do things to bring out more of the dose, so to speak, so that a little tiny dose to me can feel like a huger dose to somebody else. You have to really I'm explaining as much as I can. I'm going to explain it. But I used to go out in the woods, and with the flying lotus, I would let emotions come up. And I remember sometimes I would be scared. I would be scared. I remember one time it was a deer that popped out when stuff was there, or just a thought. And where the song would like have all this striking, like ding, ding, and it would make me like look around. But then I was like, why am I looking around? Just stay calm. Just stay calm, stay focused, and let whatever thought come up just arise. See what was really happening, what you did wrong in that situation, how it affected the other person, and that's it. Because it's already embedded in me, so speak, how they probably felt about the situation if they was upset. But how did by what they did to me, that's what I'm trying to say. But what did I do to them? And those are the thoughts that mostly always come up that I didn't even know I was running away from them. That was the thing. I'm not going front. A lot of voices be popping up in my head, like saying, yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I knew and stuff, but a lot of stuff I didn't know. A lot of stuff I didn't know. That's why I have respect for the blind. Well, I don't even like calling people blind. We all on our same level. We all on our different levels of consciousness and awareness. Because really we are just awareness, you know? But, I love when I just end the talk like that. But, that's some of my experience with LSD, microdosing. And the thing is, if I didn't want that to happen, it didn't have to happen. That's just another thing. Like at work, I didn't really think about deep things. I was thinking about how to scoop the ice cream the best way and not hurt myself. Efficiency ruled with LSD. I could say that. Efficiency. I was able to move very fast, very efficiently. And I can see how these CEOs of these tech companies and people that's running these very complicated businesses like architects or stuff like that, on the graphic designers building the video games and everything, are probably taking little minute doses of LSD to output that much creativity and that much in that little span amount of time. Like these games are taking us to other worlds and they're making them in like 2 years. Look at Assassin's Creed. I'm playing through Assassin's Creed Origins, which takes place during the pyramids and stuff. And that game is so expansive that I have not even still traveled that everywhere. And I had the game for about 5 months. Mind you, I don't play games that much. I try to as much as I can. But I let life run its course. I can't control that much stuff. Learned that 2 years ago. They were coming out with another one already, just as big, probably even bigger, fixed a lot of bugs. Like, this is virtual reality. Like, I'm just thinking that I was in tune. I'm still in. The thing is, you learn that you always have the power in the end. That's why you don't microdose. I don't know, your microdosing habits change, I guess, past through the years, because everybody has their own do-si-do. Everybody do what they do. But the thing that James Fadiman says, who was one of the scientists in the 60s that was experimenting with this, and he never really stopped, but he came out with regimens for a microdosing thing, a microdosing routine, where you take a real minute dose of LSD or psilocybin mushrooms, and on day one, and then you go through day one good, and then you observe the effects. You don't take nothing on day two. On day two, for me, on day two, I see him as though like I'm reset, like I'm all bouncy, my shoulders all flowy, and I'm just all, I can flip around and do some, I don't know, I just feel like my mind is so pliable and mendable, and I can just do so much. But the first day, sometimes thoughts will probably come up that you're probably not used to, or that's why you gotta just go about your day as usual. That's what you do on the first day. Just go about your day as usual and go see what happens. And later, along the line, you'll be able to adjust your doses accordingly so that you don't take too much. Like, I know sometimes I was taking a little too much, and it would cause me to have a little too much anxiety for what I planned on doing. So I have to do something else. And but sometimes a lot of people don't always have the flexibility to change up and just do something else. So Gotta adjust the doses. This is what James Fadiman was saying. This is my experience as well. And then second day, you get residual effects, and that is, you feel nice and positive and optimistic the next day about stuff that come up. Because I used to feel like, I went through this huge challenge. Like, what can come at me now? What can come at me now? Like, just I'm throwing hugs at everything. And then the third day, you go back down to like baseline, I suppose, or how we saw in that MRI thing, how the brain just started lighting down, just the lights turn down just a little more, just a little less, and like, but that's what happens on the third day. You don't take nothing on the third day, according to this regiment. You don't take nothing the third day, and you record, you write down some benefits and what's been going on, because memory, you'll start seeing as you start microdosing, is very malleable, and memory cannot really be trusted that much. So writing stuff down really helps in us improve our psyche, so we can attach to that real thing that memory is, which we are going to figure out pretty soon. Because some people that know so much, that remember so much. That makes me, I'm just tying on what are memories for real. And then on the fourth day of Christmas, on the fourth day of the regime, that's when you redose and you record your results and you start it all over again. Some people do once every 2 weeks. Some people do once a week. Some people do once every 4 days. It's all about what you want to do. It's all about how you want to enact your life and how comfortable you are in changing up your lifestyle if you wasn't already changing up things already. Because it will wake you up. It will wake you up, and not in ways of like high doses of psilocybin or LSD mushrooms where you're like, oh, whoa, stuff flying around and stuff twirling around, but it'll wake you up in a way that you will start developing better habits for yourself financially, how you start wanting to be fit more. You want to go out and go for runs, probably go swimming. Like, I love swimming now, and y'all know the stereotype. I used to be just putting my foot in the water. Well, I still always would swim. I used to always swim. Well, it would take me forever to get in the water because I would always not like the transition from hot to extremely cold. But I got over it now. It will open up yourself to better eating habits. And I want to say that I'm a vegan for the most part, but sometimes I catch myself eating fish. I still eat fish from time to time. It's Captain Naga, I'm being honest. I still eat fish from time to time. But I don't eat meat. That's just my revelation right now. But it pushed me so that I wanted to eat more fruits. It sounds a little cliche. I wanted to eat more fruits. And it seemed like I was able to get the benefits out of the fruits that people always talked about. Like, people say, how am I eat a fruit and be happy? How's a piece of fruit going to be happy? I can eat this burger and be happier and all this stuff. But it's like I was really able to see what people was talking about. And even if I didn't know what they was talking about, if I never heard they said, I felt it within myself. I felt it personally. And the benefits was positive. I felt like I had lighter thoughts. Like, felt like I didn't hold on to as aggressive thoughts, or I didn't become as aggressive thoughts more frequently. I've seemed a lot lighter in body and my mind. And y'all know the health benefits of eating fruits and eating not processed meats and all these animals that suffer and everything. It has a effect on your body. No clogged arteries, no diabetes. Like, you can stop diabetes by just changing your diet. Just tie. You can cure your diabetes through your diet. No taking insulin, no taking all them pills. We can heal ourselves through developing good habits. And for me, LSD kicked it all into gear. I was already trying my best. I was trying my best to like develop habits. I was studying a lot of esoteric things. I was just starting to get into meditation and things like that for like a year or so before I was introduced to psychedelics. But I was able to actually enact those back thoughts because I still was sloppy on a lot of things. Sloppy. Like I was the type of person that would go for things with a whole bunch of ambition, whole bunch of heart. And then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, be like, what happened, bro? What happened to you? What happened? And I'm like, I don't know. Something popped up. I'm dealing with something difficult in life that I'm using as an excuse for why I can't do this thing right now. And I would just keep going. Excuses build up on excuses on excuse on excuse. Like, I'm getting old now, man. It's like, I'm never getting old. For those who don't know, I'm 27 years old. Wait. I was born 91. Wow, yeah. I always get confused if I'm turning 27 or if I'm turning 28, bros. And that's just the everyday thing for me. That has nothing to do with anything. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. How old am I? 26 or 27? What the? God damn. I am 26, guys. I'll be 27 in December. Like I said, I do not really keep up with y'all calendars that much anymore. I don't really care about I care about my birthday and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just have a different sense of time in my mind. And I've always been like that since I was a kid. That's why I believe I was able to get into math when they started talking about imaginary numbers. The rest of the class was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, imaginary numbers. I can get my mind around that. I get my mind around these concepts. But I believe that if I had microdose when I was in college, remember, this is my experience. I probably would have been able to stay in college. A lot of depressive thoughts was coming to me during college that I had to drop out. It had nothing to do with the work being too hard or the life of college being too stressful. It was just something really going on mentally. And I never took a psychedelic drug before then. I smoked cannabis, but that was it. But I was always going through something. I would get cold sweats. I would get shakes and stuff that, like, this is towards the end when it started getting worse and worse. And it was affecting everything else. But I believe I've been able to develop calmer habits of thinking and thinking patterns and stuff like that if I would have had this back then. But now I'm here, and anything is always possible. That's why I don't never doubt myself. I don't really have no regrets in my life, and that's why I always try to tell, pushing out to the tires and to the viewers, I don't really regret things in the past, but do go back and look at what could have been done and move on from there, because what could have been done then is what can be done now. Get it? Just tie. Oh, we've been on for 40 minutes. That's wild, though. I couldn't remember my age, though, bro. All right. And for those, I'll say right now, recently I've been microdosing with psilocybin mushrooms. So let's get a different scene. Get this off here. I've been microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. And the main difference that I can tell between microdosing psilocybin and LSD is that it's a ton, even way more introspective. Because LSD can be introspective based off of some things that you already know. But microdosing mushrooms for me, because for me when I microdose, I make sure, well, not all the time, but I go about my day as usual. Like my days are not really scheduled. I go about my day as usual. Some days I'm out at the park meditating, and some days I'm making a video, like now. So That's if you want a pure example of how you don't go crazy on microdosing. Right here. All right, so yeah, I've been microdosing psilocybin mushrooms, and my past experiences have shown me about dose control, how sometimes some have a little bit more than most, and that's why I need to get something that grounds into a powder. They say it's something online where you can ground it up into a fine powder so that it can be controlled doses. This is just information. I'm just putting the information out there that I learned from my experience and that I learned from the internet. All of this is all on the internet. And that's why I bring up internet sites, because this is not just about my life. This is about our life. It's about Thai life. Thai life. My psilocybin mushrooms even way more allowed me to deal with issues that I didn't want to deal with, like because I push myself far. So this is a thing about the podcast of microdosing, but I'm saying a lot of my personal story as well, because I push myself a lot in my experiences more than the average probably Joe, even though I'm the average Joe Smo. But but that's just the way it is in life. I was able to put myself in other positions a lot more, especially my spouse and others that I would just run into on the streets. It allowed me to connect with them more on a heart-to-heart instantly. And that can just be shown on a 3D dimension as walking there just saying, "Hey, how's it going?" Instead of saying, "What's good?" Yeah. Like, that's still cool and stuff. I still like that stuff. I ain't around a lot of African Americans around where I'm at. But a lot of hey, like really I'm still expressive to anybody I meet regardless though. That's why people sometimes just be looking at me like, still giving me the heads up, or they just say anything. But I'm just passing on the positive energy, the positive vibe, because I see what's behind that depressive shell, that face that we put on, because I was there as well. It's literally like I was there too. And microdosing psilocybin like reminds me, it keeps me in that place of humbleness. Because I have a big head. I don't know why. It could be because of my astrology. I'm Sagittarius. My rising sign is in Virgo, and my moon is a Capricorn. So I like things to be in order from the moon in Capricorn. And my rising ascendant Virgo, I just found out I love to present things in ways that's beneficial to the public. I was like, wow, I just read that a couple of days ago. I was like, that's what this is. The Psy Tai Podcast is all about. And what was the other thing I was talking about? If anything, cannabis slows down my short-term memory. If anything, I gotta say. Not putting down cannabis, bro, but I think it's a thing about microdosing cannabis, too, that a lot of people are getting hip to now. I'm looking real deep into that. I think I just got to practice. I already know about it. And that's what I wanted to talk about. How my sign, Sagittarius, I'm able to see into a lot of things and able to, I don't know, have a calm, cool, collective view about it. But in my head is like, I know, I gotta tell you this. And in my life, like a lot of people, I was like, a lot of people just not ready to hear this. I was like, no, I'm just being too hard on myself. I learned that I was being too hard on myself somewhere deep, deep inside. And it was because of something in the past or something. That's why I was coming out that way when I would talk to people. It's not even talk to people. It would be more like a family thing, like a spouse or my mom and stuff. Because I really always wanted my mom to be better. That's a huge thing I thought about in college. Like, I was like, I got to be there for my mom. I got to be there for the world. And I'm just so sad. I can't do anything. I'm just this one person. Oh, man. And that was the thoughts I had in college. But I always thought about my mom. I always like, I got to help out my mom. I got to be there for her. So when I was really getting hip to things, and this was before psychedelics too, a little bit before psychedelics, but mixed in with the LSD. That's why I'm glad I ran into the psilocybin. That's one of the things the LSD can make you have an even bigger head if you already have a big head. It doesn't really humble you. It doesn't really sit your ass down. It doesn't do that. As psilocybin did. But for me, I was a researcher. Growing up, I wanted to be a astrophysicist. I really wanted to be a theoretical astrophysicist. I didn't want to be an experimental one. I wanted to just think of concepts, put math things together, and then have other people do the things that put it all into the fancy things that y'all see, like technology and all of that. But I really was focused on being a theoretical astrophysicist. So when I see Neil deGrasse, I used to look up to him. I still do look up to him. What am I talking about? I like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love all that stuff. So I am a scientist. When I say I'm a scientist, I am a scientist. I just don't have a degree or anything, but it's in my heart to always ask why, to always go forward. And with asking why, I was always able to retain a lot, and I was always able to push even farther than what I thought before. I was a reader. And with math, I was able to grasp concepts very easily. When it came to math, I was able to, I don't know, it was just simple. It seemed like it was the same as reading to me, like learning how to pronounce words and stuff. So overall, and then getting into a lot of esoteric stuff, reading different occult books, like on magic with a K, and seeing different states of yoga, and I was practicing this stuff, and I was like, oh man, I gotta tell the world, I gotta tell my mom, and if y'all not doing this, there's something wrong with y'all. And that's how if I was projecting on people, I see that we project that on people that we love, because that's how we really feel about the world, and that's how it's something how we feel about ourselves. Like, it's weird. It's weird. But I got over that. I got past that thanks to the microdosing psilocybin use. My use of microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. It allowed me to say, all right, you remember where you was. You remember who they are. See who they are. I'm going to put you in their shoes right now. And then you just switch. And then you just like, oh, okay. Wow, I'm a real dick. And then you just say, oh, I'm a real dick. And then I come to the acceptance of that, and that's when it finally dissipates. But rejecting an idea, rejecting something about yourself, a shadow side of yourself, means that it's going to come out on your loved ones. And that was through my experience. And that what really got me more on board. We all have our own tests. That was my test. But man, this is supposed to be about, this is what happened during my microdosing. Because things would just pop up. And if I was in a baseline of consciousness, I would have responded in a baseline, in my view, a baseline of consciousness way. Which is my programmed way of trauma because something happened to me when I was a teenager or younger or something of the sort. Things didn't really happen to me personally. Just saying my Captain Naga story. I think it was more on the way that I was brought up, because I had a mom that was real doing her thing. She was doing her thing. She was the best ever. She was doing her thing. And then I had a grandma in another family that was more but I was more being raised, being taken care of by, like, over their house all the time, who had rules upon rules upon rules, and Christianity on top of religion, on top of don't look over that side type of deal. And I had a very curious mind about everything. So I forgot my point, but that's where we was. That's a little another tidbit about me. That's something, y'all see. I'm on a microdose a little bit right now, but it keeps you a little open. It makes you open to expression a lot more. A lot of people use words like yeah, or 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 I grew up saying a lot of times, and I learned that from my mom. She said and people get mad, like, are you really listening to me, or are you just responding and saying catchphrases? And I'm like, I hear what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. So I'm listening. But really, I know it's something where I do hear what they saying. I do. But really, it would be my head would be somewhere else as well. But now I'm able to be fully engaged in the conversation. And that has benefited my social life, my family life, and it allowed me to love myself. It opened up channels for me to love myself a lot more. And when you love yourself, that's when everything else just correlates, And then you just start making funny voices like this. Because it doesn't... I kind of forget people be watching this. But who matters? Somebody's always watching. I'm looking for the other browser so we can go through this article. But yeah, that was my 50 cents on my microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. It's still a ton that goes on, but I let it go out as the podcast keeps going. Still got a lot of episodes ahead. Alright, this is about scientists are starting to test claims about microdosing. Scientists could psychedelics lead to improved antidepressants or anti-anxiety therapies? By Shannon Bigley. Alright, this is kind of date. August 24th, 2018. This one of those articles. I accept the cookies. Now, is it going to go back to being the full page? Alright, well, this one of the ones where I could be part of the article again. Or not. Alright, this is somebody else's story. Let's bring somebody else into the view. That's why we got these articles. If y'all got a story y'all want to tell, let me know. Alright. Dennis Van der Mahiden isn't aiming to see the face of God, feel one with the cosmos, grasp the hidden reality of time and space, or embark on a sacred journey. What the Dutch Hayden, 39, who told try my best to stay away from coffee. I'm so happy that I have stayed away from coffee this far. Just because I read about the side effects. But to each his own. We all do our own. We all can experiment with our consciousness. As if I'm kicked in some sort of orbit for that day. If he becomes distracted, I'm very much aware of that. As if I'm seeing myself from a bird's eye view. So I can correct myself very fast. That's the thing. But Van der Mahiden says he's careful not to exceed 0.4 grams because 0.5 made him a bit too joyful and a bit too philosophical, which wasn't always appropriate. I was telling y'all about that. I was saying the exact thing. But yeah, I used to feel like that when I was younger. I used to always feel like I was watching myself from a third eye view. This is growing up. I used to feel like it was third eye view, and I was just watching. Well, when I became a teenager, I became more aware of this. I used to think I was I don't know. I used to think of this was just some robot, and he was just doing something, and I just felt so sad and sorry for him, and I was just somewhere else watching them have a conversation, and it was just felt like I had no connection to that person that was doing these things, and it drove me into a huge depression. Because of that. And a lot of other things was going on, but I didn't really have any like messed up things physically happen to me in life. But it's just my consciousness. It was just messed up. And a lot of people will say mental health. But I believe that mental health means something different than how we've been describing it in science for the past couple years. It's probably how we've been describing it as human beings for thousands of years, and that it has something to do with the psyche, and that has stuff to do with plant medicines, and that this is one huge game that you just gotta know how to play, or else you're being played. Who knows? But the psilocybin mushrooms, I'm just tying. I think it reconnected me, and me tying in and really going out and trying to not forcefully, but reconnect with my feelings in the way that I have to create my own history and not going on relying on somebody else's history to go by. Because I had a lot of feelings that contradicted what a lot of people was telling me. And this was, like I keep saying, this is before psychedelics. I'm just tying to my mind as a time frame so I can know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this was way before. So, and a lot of people around me did not understand what I was talking about, except for the music. And that's what was it just drawing it out even more. Even though now I look at it now as an adult and I see how that listening to that music can make you strong because it forces you to see your shadow side. I used to like listen to a lot of metal music after I got into rap later in life. It's surprisingly, like in high school and college. But I grew up listening to a lot of metal music, rock type music. Like I used to listen to, I was about to say Five Finger Death Punch. I probably know a couple songs by them. But the emo bands would be like Bless the Fall, or that's an old band. Gosh, I'm going blank on this music stuff. Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. Wow. And with the metal, it would be, yeah, I don't know, man. But it was a lot of stuff that had you. Atreyu. Atreyu was a big one. But there's a lot of them that they seemed as though they was just as disconnected as me. My Chemical Romance, all of that music. I was into that. That was me. That was all me. And it was wild. They used to call me FML, my skater friends. And because I used to say F my life. Like, that was the attitude I had, but I was cool about it. And so they was cool with calling me about it. Like, I was like, F this. Like, this life ain't nothing. This life ain't there. Just go out and do what you want. But that comes with consequences. Well, not doing what you want, but yeah, whatever. I ain't going to focus on the bad right now. I ain't trying to preach. I'm just trying to talk about what I want to say. About my past experiences. Sorry, I just blew into the mic like that. Just taking the time to breathe for a second. I've been on here for a minute. I think this is gonna be a good episode, bros. Make sure y'all share this page. Join in. Join the conversation. If y'all have anything y'all ever want to say live on air, this is recorded live. And as y'all see on this episode, it didn't mess up not one bit. But that's, yeah. Didn't mess up not one bit and it's not going to. We got control over this. All right, let's go back to this article. All right. A bit too philosophical. Yeah, watch your doses. As he's saying, he took 0.4 grams and 0.5 grams, and it was a little bit joyful, a little bit too philosophical, which wasn't always appropriate. I remember one time I was sitting on the toilet, I took too much for a while, and had these thoughts. I swore I seen the black thing from Stranger Things, and I just kept thinking about all the bad stuff I was talking because I was upset the past week. And really, I want to go outside and ride the bike. But let's go. Microdosing involves taking roughly 1/10 the trip dose of a psychedelic drug, an amount too little to trigger hallucinations, but enough, as proponents say, to sharpen the mind. Psilocybin microdosers, including hundreds of Reddit, report that the mushrooms can increase creativity, calm anxiety, decrease the need for caffeine, and reduce depression. There is enough evidence that trip doses might have the latter effect that on Wednesday, London-based Compass Pathways received the Food and Drug Administration approval for a Phase 2b clinical trial of psilocybin in larger than microdoses for treatment-resistant depression. But research in microdosing is very minimal. And that is the only reason I'm Not the only reason. There's probably many reasons I can't even comprehend right now. But there are so many reasons why I'm giving out my experiences. It's not just to say, hey, go do what I do. Don't do what I do. This story so that you don't do what I do, so that you could know what you want to do for your life. Because there is no research out here. There is nothing. But yet, it's people out here doing it the right way. I mean, in ways that are harming them. And there's people out here doing it in ways that are benefiting them so much that they're mastering this reality and they're calm. They're calm in life. They have things that they want, which is things that they need, and there is no difference. And everything just flows. They love their family. They love it. It's people. It's happy people out here. There are very happy people out here. And I wish to report on that more, because when you turn on the news, you don't see happy people. You see people getting shot, see people getting murdered and everything. So this research, we need firsthand experiences. It's about our history, not your history. I mean, it is about your history, not about past history, like the old books and stuff like that all the time. All right, let's get back to this article. Had to close that.
Why are you still in a video?
Hey. Maybe. Hold on 1 second, guys. Woo! A chair almost fell. I think my cup is dirty. In the nearly 10 years since psychologists and psychedelic researchers Jane Fadiman introduced the notion of microdosing, we went over that, and followed the protocol. And 3 years after microdosing, psychedelics became the latest Silicon Valley productivity hack. All the evidence about its effects have been anecdotal. Psilocybin is illegal almost everywhere, so it's been nearly impossible to study scientifically. That is changing, however, as the Netherlands and other countries effectively decriminalize it, and scientists in places where it remains illegal obtain government permission to study it. That's pretty cool. That's what needs to happen. The Netherlands. I think I had a study from the Netherlands in the previous Psy Tai Podcast. Gotta check that out. The scientific interest is driven in part by numerous reports over the years that psilocybin might have antidepressant or anti-anxiety effects that might guide the development of better psychiatric drugs. Like, they can derive stuff from here. They don't gotta just take the mushroom, but the mushroom does have a lot of more chemicals than just the psilocybin. But let's keep going. But it also reflects an itch to see whether there is any basis for the anecdotal accounts. Now, in the first study of its kind, scientists in the Netherlands found that psilocybin microdoses have no noticeable effect on the problem-solving, rational thinking, and abstract reasoning ability called fluid intelligence, but they do seem to improve two forms of thinking that underline creativity. Yeah, you're not just going to be going there. Like I say, I go and meditate. So I always have thoughts of cleansing myself basically every day. I try to go out and, I go out and eat and stuff, and I play video games in order to, playfully distract myself, because I feel and I know in myself that I just want to I'm still here to have fun and not just to be running around with my head cut off, but to still have fun. It's not, I don't like saying the word grounded because I don't really want to stay grounded to this reality too much. But I don't know, I believe that word grounded is like a false term because it makes you stick to ideals of fitting back into normal or how you used to be, and say, oh, I have to be upset at that because everybody else still upset at that. No, I can be happy I can be optimistic about that, even if nobody else is optimistic about that. Talking along those grounds. Sorry I ain't looking in the camera. I'm not singing the anthem. Why? Because I'm an American. I'm reading Scientific American. That's why. Like, talk about programming, bros. We are programmed, and we need to unplug ourselves from this matrix. I love the national anthem. I love the melodies and stuff in it. That's the real reason why I loved it growing up. I just love the melodies. But what I mean is how stuff pops up in our mind and we believe it to be our own thoughts. When really we were being led to that thought all along and we had no clue. We had no damn clue that we was being led, that we was being lied to all this time. Who would have known? But the thing is, the people that do know, they get angry about it a lot. I'm trying to work with y'all, work with some other people, and work with myself so we can do this in a happy way and not in a destructive way. But yet cause destruction by disrupting old morals that don't work anymore. Alright. Yeah, look at me talking. Don't look at me talking. Alright, the scientific is driven, but it also reflects an itch. Now in the first study of its kind, Netherlands. Yep, I did read that. Talking about creativity. I'm next episode of the Psy Tai Podcast. Stay tuned, because I'm going to show y'all my art. I've been working on a lot of art, some canvases lately. So, we're going to do something. That's a blank canvas. That has nothing on it. Alright. I'll show y'all in a bit. But let's get on with this. Whatever the dose... Alright. Whatever the dose, psilocybin, O-phosphorohydroxy-N-dimethyltryptamine binds to receptors for the neurotransmitter serotonin. The cortex is packed with these 5-H2A receptors, especially in areas that control reflection, imagination, and introspection. But whether there is a minimum dose of psilocybin that's required to activate them is an imperial question that we try to tackle. Homicide. Yes. And that's all happening in your brain. That's all happening. All of these chemicals, as I say, Paul Stamos. Dennis McKinnis. I'm thinking of Dennis the Menace. If y'all know about that show, Dennis the Menace. But Dennis McKenna, as he says, we're all made of drugs. We're all just chemicals. Just working, all the chemicals working together, keep building up to build this physical specimen. You dig me? So they bond naturally. I wish I had a graphic of it, but they fall and they fit right into that. Like, say this the receptor, they just like I can't see myself. They go like boop. Whatever's fit, yeah, they're like, and they fit naturally straight in there. And then that's how long your trip lasts. Like, psilocybin is like 4 to 6 hours or 4 to 5 hours, and it sometimes just dissipates or does something. I'm not a chemist, but I had the graphic in my head. And with LSD, it stays for like 8 hours and stuff. The longer it's there, the more that serotonin, that neurotransmitter is being pumped up with this psychedelic chemical. The more this chemical is reacting with this other chemical, causing things to happen, you know. To do so, he and his colleagues zeroed in, because this is what they're trying to see, what is the minimum dose to achieve this effect that a lot of us are talking about. To do so, he and his colleagues zeroed in on the effects that many users report: creativity, problem solving, and let me get this mic right, and cognitive flexibility, deemed crucial to both. Linda Slusa Prokrova took the lead and invited members of the Psychedelic Society of the Netherlands to participate in the study. She got 38 takers. Shout out to that 38. Before their microdose, the volunteers took 3 standard psychological tests, 2 related to creative problem solving and 1 in assessment of fluid intelligence. The scientists ran chemical analysis of the mushroom samples to determine how much psilocybin they contain. That's cool. The good thing is that. Since a trip dose is about 3 grams of dried mushrooms, a microdose is around 0.33 grams. Participants averaged 0.37 grams of the dried preparation, which can be taken with food or packed into gel capsules for easy swallowing. Because a lot of people don't like this taste of magic mushrooms, yeah, especially magic mushroom. A lot of people say, they're disgusting. Sometimes to me, they taste very disgusting. I'm like, it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth even when it's done. But for sometimes me, it's like, oh, that just means you took it. It's a reminder, like, yeah, this is the journey. But other times, you just want to put in a gel capsule, drink some water, and it'd be like you just took a Tylenol. I ain't took Tylenol in years, but y'all get the picture. About 90 minutes after the microdose, the participants took the 3 tests again. In the picture concept test, they saw 3 rows of 3 pictures and had to choose 3, 1 from each row, and that were related. That requires conversion on the current solution, like noticing that a bathtub, a sink, and a hose all have something to do with, guess what? Water. The brain must focus, weigh alternatives, and reject wrong ones very fast. And this is what I was experiencing first with the LSD. As I said, I was able to grasp huge concepts, huge philosophical concepts, because that's just what I focus on. I focus on a lot of philosophical concepts. It's just my life, what I've been doing with my life, just what I've been doing with this role. So, yeah, it allowed me to see a lot of those concepts. So instead of learning about it, I was experiencing and learning. And yeah, I was experiencing, so it was being more ingrained. So I was able to work with it a lot more. And then when it came to little things, especially with psilocybin mushrooms, with creativity, like say you want to build Legos or something, you don't got no ideas, you'll build something nobody ever seen before that you didn't even think. And it would be so structurally sound that you would be amazed at yourself. I'm thinking of amazing and structurally sound. It seemed like yeah. All right. In the alternate uses test, the microdosers had 5 minutes to think of ways to use a pen. Textonomy, finger splits, or towel. I don't get that one, but let's keep going. That measures divergent thinking to move thoughts away. If y'all know what that is, leave that in the comments so I can know what they was talking about. That measures divergent thinking to move thoughts away from writing, for example, in the case of the pen. If I know what that is, let me know. The microdosers also took a progressive matrices test in blocks of 2 by 3 or 3 by 3 patterns. So, yeah, 2 by 2. 3 by 3 patterns, with the bottom right one, do y'all right, I guess? With the bottom right one missing, they had to choose which of the 6 possibilities belonged in the blank square, a task that requires fluid intelligence. The scientists found no post-microdose difference on the fluid intelligence test, but after microdosing, performance on the picture concept test was significantly higher, an average score of 7.6 than before, which was 6.6. That suggested an improvement in the convergent thinking element of creativity. Conversion. I was thinking divergent. Think of that movie Divergent. Man. I'm not going to tie. Yes, I am. That movie Divergent. Check out that movie Divergent and think of it in a way like this is a person that mind is not set on anything. They can do anything. Exactly how the movie's saying it. It's just all these movies remind me of an individual as myself that has come out of a psychedelic experience with a new way of thinking that was probably there before, but is like being lived out and experienced and not just read in books or being experienced by watching it on the TV. Thanks to Cali for making tree legal, said Captain Naga to the censors. I'm in California. Alright, y'all can't see this. Let's go. Alright. The microdosers. Oh, that's a term now. New term. 2018. The microdosers also came up with a significantly more uses for pens and towels. Pens and towels, 16.7 versus 14.7. That suggests a microdose of psilocybin allowed participants to create more out-of-box alternative solutions for a problem, the scientists wrote. Taken together, the three findings suggest a specific effect of psilocybin mushrooms on creativity, but not much on fluid intelligence. Because you have to build that up. You got to build up your life. It's nothing to just a magic pill to, I know everything, like that movie Limitless and stuff. Still a good concept, still good ideas to hold on, that optimism and everything. But in this reality, you still have to build up your intelligence. You have to build up skill. I remember Alan Watts mentioning something about how Americans, especially in the 60s and stuff, when they got turned on to psychedelics, or just American period, we don't have specialized skills. We have generalized skills, but we have to build up skills in specific areas in life that we want to excel in, or else we're never going to really excel in it. We're just going to watch other people, you know? Yes, Isla. Come right back, baby.
No, I'm just telling you something. I want to get your Game Boy out.
Okay, you can take it. Sorry for that. I kind of hit that button a little late, too. But it's all good. What was I on? Oh, you have to build up. Alan Watts was talking about how you have to build up your own intelligence, you have to build a skill. You have to come up with a skill. I'm practicing right now. I'm practicing talking, being a father. I'm practicing guitar. I love music. Practicing these programs, like how to use these green screens, computers. I've always been into computer science. I used to fix computers and stuff for the school district in Philadelphia. I was the IT guy, but but right now I really see what he mean, because now I'm seeing I want to do art and stuff. I want to paint, but I'm not just gonna be the best painter day one. Everything's starting. I gotta keep going. I gotta look up skills. I gotta watch other people videos, because I'm not around a lot of artists right now. So I watch other people videos on YouTube, and I just watch them as if I'm just watching watching a friend teaching me something. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I take that, and then I go at midnights and stuff, and I go and practice until I can build up my hand. I don't really use paintbrushes. I do a lot of abstract stuff, but until I can really build up something that is a reflection of my inners, whatever my inners is at that moment. But that's what that's about. We gotta go out here and really build up something. Go and do something that you love. That's why I made the Just Tie series, the Just Think About It series. So a lot of times I was out in the woods and I was just trying to motivate the people, motivate the tires. Anyone listening. All right. I'll watch. Wow, I'd say 121 minutes and 30 seconds. That's 1 hour, 21 minutes. 100. All right, for Van der Meyen and microdose. Let's see what this does for this guy, Mahiden. I'm going to call him Mahiden. I'm going to just butcher his name like that. Microdose of psilocybin makes his musical brainstorm sessions yield more concepts, ideas, and solutions, he said, partially because it lets him better understand and visualize other people's concepts. In his design and illustration work, it produces a more natural flow of line drawing and lets him see more possibilities in how things can be or look. In his music, it lets him analyze all the different instruments better and know, for instance, whether to turn up or down the reverberation effect. Yes, I would just vouch and say I have very similar experiences. The Dutch study was published on a reprint site and has not undergone peer review at a journal. Has several captions, blah, blah, blah. That leaves open the possibility that it wasn't the compound that improved and forced the thing, but the expectation that it would do so. Many people who microdose believe in its effects benefits enough to make them expectations reality. I believe it all flows one and the same. Because if you don't believe in it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I believe our science is going to catch up to that one day. But with these fMRI scans, you can see, if you want to look in the 3D room, you can literally see the brain is lit up in different sections. But I want them to do an fMRI scan on a microdoser. We see how it is when you're in the higher doses, but I want to see the lower doses because I know what's the difference, because I can feel the difference. And many other people have. All right. Or, on the other hand, results fit in with another new study of psilocybin, one led by neuroscientist Jonah Carbaro of the University of Oxford used fMRI scans to study the brain activity of 9 people who volunteered to be injected with 2 milligrams, 2 trip-inducing doses. The chemical changed the functional creativity of various brain regions so that activity in one became synced with that in another. In particular, the rational, logical, well-behaved frontopretinal regions became strongly destabilized. The scientists reported melding with activity in emotional and other regions to produce unconstrained consciousness, mind wandering, and a sense that everything is connected to everything else. Seeing a connection that eludes other people is almost the definition of creativity. Woo! Just how. What did they say? Seeing the connections that elude other people is almost the definition of creativity. Wow. I love that definition right there. Them words make sense. Them words make nonsense. Yeah, talking about a guy in Portland. Skip that a little farther down. Alright. I'll read the last article. I always give the articles just due by reading the last one. As legal structures... As legal loosens, there will be likely more rigorous studies of microdosing psilocybin. Scientific studies could legitimize the claimed benefits, said Will Burns, CEO of Windman Mass-based IdeaCycle, which developed branding and marketing ideas. He does not microdose, Burns said, but he has called for research into his purported effects, including improving productivity and creativity. Right now, we're swimming in a world of anecdotes, and almost no one has taken this seriously, he said. We need scientific studies, said the CEO of Windman. Whatever that is. Thank you, Will Barnes, though. So we need people up there to get this word out, because we all have our different mindsets, man. But hold on 1 second, bros. Thanks for watching the Psy Tai Podcast, man. I really enjoyed this. I hope y'all learned something about microdosing. a little something. I did have this to go down, but we've been here for a while. But I'm going to see. I don't really have control over this show. This is a lady named Jeanette Chang, another lady saying how 1 year of microdose to help my career, relationship, and happiness. This is more. All these links I'm going to put in the description, I promise. I haven't on the other ones. I've been so busy trying to push the videos out. So I need y'all help to share these videos so it can take a little more or less pressure off of my hands so I can move on and do other things during the day. Alright, so recently I created a 1 year experiment which I took microdoses of psilocybin almost daily. And that's what my goal was to understand the impact and how it would do on my work and mental health. Lately I've been doing so much meditating. And I break the 3-day, 4-day cycle of psilocybin thing pretty often. But I don't have any psilocybin drugs. Just saying. I don't have anything. I approached the experiment as a relative newcomer to the world of psychedelics. And the last few years, I wasn't the kind of person to take recreational drugs. That said, I invested in health, mindfulness, and personal growth. I scored in the top 99 percentile of oh gosh, I'm skipping that. Just talking about her stuff she did, which are very awesome. Kudos. By the time I was 25, I'm 26, I remember now. By the time I was 25, I created a life I was proud of, all while sober. So my perspective on recreational drugs was that anyone dependent on them had major problems they were running away from. I never thought of drugs as conducive to growth. Oh, we need this. We need to hear her voice because this is like somebody talking now that was against everything that I was saying before. She would have been against me, but now she on the other side. So let's see somebody else. Let's see her story. Glad I kept going with this. Fortunately, I was wrong. That's the next paragraph. After taking them in Southeast Asia, my perspective on psychedelics quickly changed. They became a vehicle for greater self-reflection and awareness. Psychedelics appealed to me in their ability to work through painful emotions of the past. And my use of psychedelics has shown various benefits, including reducing my social anxiety and addressing things that even I, a so-called self-improvement fanatic, hadn't gotten around to facing myself. And that made me think a lot of people in religion. They think we're getting over a lot of things, but we really got a lot of things that we need to go over in our own psyche, and it is possible. But a lot of people let religion do it for them. But I just don't believe that's enough. I don't believe it's enough. I woke up after my first dose of mushrooms to find my lifelong fear of public speaking gone. After mushrooms, I was exposed to LSD and MDMA and traveled to Peru for a series of ayahuasca ceremonies. They worked beyond my wildest expectations. Psychedelics served as an eye-opening means for creating meaningful personal insight I held from childhood traumas that I didn't even know I had. At one point, I began wondering if there was a sustainable way to leverage the power of psychedelics on a daily basis. It was at this time I became eager to discover whether smaller doses could help improve my work relationships and mood. And that's exactly what I was on. I wasn't just like, I want to get high. I was like, man, I don't want to go out here. I don't want to go out here and be taking psychedelics every day and be like the people I probably see on TV. I had a fear and like, oh man, yeah, man, just be walking around or saying 5, 4, 3, 10, 10, 5, 10, all day, just like not really being able to comprehend was the stream of downloads that I'm getting. I didn't want to be like that, but I knew how awesome it was to be like that. But I had a lot of restrictions on my mind that for the better or for the worse brought me onto a different path. So I microdosed a lot for those reasons. For her, some similar reasons. And let's scroll. Alright. Wait. Finish your story. At one point, yeah. Alright, yeah. I've read that part well. I share the findings across, yep. I can read that. And this, yep. She made a whole thing down here about mushrooms and things about her research. So definitely gotta put this up there. Got some terms up there like exactly what psilocybin is, LSD, MDMA. There's a trip setting. Here go a chart for this episode. I love when I can bring up these fMRI scans. This is the placebo of actual placebo LSD brain scans of actual people under psychedelic drugs. Not the placebo. They had the sugar in the water. Sorry for them. But overall, look at the difference. There's a big overall difference. And this is not Photoshop. This is not anything. This is what's going on in the brain under a psychedelic man or woman. Yep. Here was another one that I didn't have the last episode that I remember. Oh, this was a psilocybin test. I gotta see what's under it. Could I forget? Yeah, here it is. Similar effects were found in neuroimaging studies of participants under the influence of psilocybin mushrooms. Like that's different parts of the brain communicating with each other. And as you see, the brain's different parts start communicating each other that was not communicating with before, or they start syncing with. They start working together. They always had a sense of communication, but they're working together in a symbiotic way, in a way that maybe we're supposed to be at. It's a lot going on, man. The X-Men, like, are we the X-Men is real. We was talking about during the chat on the True Life Stories. Check out that during the True Life chat yesterday. But that's something I thought about a lot when I was microdosing LSD. I watch a lot of cartoons. I was watching a lot of X-Men. And I felt just like the stories, how the people didn't really feel for them, and they thought mutants were bad, and it was just a mutation in the DNA. It has me thinking about neuroplasticity and how it changes around stuff in your brain. And also, what I want to go in later is epigenetics. Epigenetics is how your DNA changes in your lifetime. And it happens. And it's happening all the time. And we can get a sense of control in that, so we can change our DNA into experiencing higher levels of life, higher levels of reality, frequencies, better days, better relationships, being able to help people, keeping a smile on our face, doing what we want to do. And it's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on in life. It's all in all what I'm just talking about. Alright, I say, alright, a lot. I gotta switch that up. It's like, that's me. That's just the me. Yeah, so psychedelics are possible treatment for addiction. We go over that. There are published chemical studies about the benefits of psychedelics. We'll be going over that. Psychedelics Explorer's Guide. That's the book by James Fetterman that came out, where he finally put it out to the public that, yeah, I've been doing these trials of people and microdosing for all these years underground. Here goes my studies. And then that started a whole new psychedelic renaissance. I was just graduating high school in 2010. 0 deaths involving psychedelics have been reported. All right. This is about her. This is her story with microdosing. This is her awesome story. This is not my story. This is her story. I'm going to let her talk. Before microdosing, I deliberately made... Before microdosing, I deliberately made myself naive to the effects that microdosing had on others who had tried it. To avoid bias in my experience with subjective expectancy effect, I specifically avoided reading about user-reported subjective effects. Instead, I reserved my research to clinical descriptions of biochemical effects. Effectiveness, how did it work? The first question I wanted to answer was, is microdosing beneficial at all? I had to answer my questions within the first week. I felt increases in awareness of my own emotions and an easier time thinking and holding conversations. I was in a slightly better mood than usual. I kept a journal to keep track of the changes, including the days I didn't microdose to make sure I just wasn't fooling myself. That's how she talks, guys, I swear. I swear she talks like that. And then something like what a higher dose does. Creative dose is 0.5. And she was saying how 0.15 through 0.1 of microdose therapeutic. 0.2 prefer is higher, slightly higher is considered. 0.5 grams is considered creative dose. Or just her results. I was on the lowest dose, 0.1.5 to 0.2 grams. I was in a better mood, less anxious, and not noticeably more or less productive. My daily average anxiety I don't know her scale. On the second microdose scale, 0.2 to 0.4, I tested 2 different work environments. One which was less orderly and more social, another that was more openly and non-social, involving a great deal of social contribution. Hold on. I was less anxious but less focused, leading to lower daily productivity. I had higher highs and lower lows in general mood. Okay. Sorry for that. I'm at the end of this, wrap this up pretty soon. He said, I was in a surprising 0.5, surprisingly less anxious and a better mood and more productive and effective at everything in general. However, this effect did not carry...
Follow me.
Hold on, Nyla. I'm almost finished.
But...
You can't find your bike?
Yeah, my bike.
All right, I'm going to help you find it, okay? I'm going to be right there, baby. I'm right there. I'm at the last part.
Mommy!
However, this effect did not carry on to maintain areas... However, this effect did not... Sorry for the confusion, guys. Family man, you know. However, this effect did not carry on to mundane errors or mechanical tasks like assembling furniture. So, when she wanted to be effective... So, it made her less anxious and stuff at 0.5. And it made her in a better mood. I want to understand this for myself, too. And she was much more productive and effective at everything in general. However, this did not affect... Yeah, like I said, you still got to build up your skills. It's not a magic pill to make you be able to do anything or everything. Yeah, I understand that. Microdosing. I hope y'all got them. We keeping this up. Shout out to True Life Stories. Keep it, and shout outs to you for listening and for going about your day doing the best thing that you thought was possible for you to be doing. Go out, do your research and all of that. And I check out the Reddit page if y'all have anything y'all want me to do on there. So I'll leave y'all with this. We all tie, but do we really tie? Sometimes I don't know, dude. Sometimes I don't know. Until next time, keep your hearts open and your mind free.